Many people see makerspaces in the library as a fun space for DIYers, but it can be so much more than that. Makerspaces are a unique opportunity to embed the library in curriculum and to increase information literacy through knowledge creation. So what is a makerspace? The NMC Horizon Report defines makerspaces as community-oriented workshops where tech enthusiasts meet regularly to share and explore electronic hardware, manufacturing tools, and programming techniques and tricks. Many people associate 3D printing with makerspaces, but they can include any technology from a variety of eras that allow users to create new artifacts. Common items in makerspaces include audio recording equipment, editing software, Raspberry Pi computers, and tools for circuitry. Many academic libraries are already giving faculty and students access to makerspaces. For example, at the University of Michigan, the library provides the Digital Media Commons. This is a collection of several makerspaces across their main Ann Arbor campus. It includes an advanced podcasting room with teleprompter and high-definition video recording equipment, design labs with tools and software for anything from music production to electronic circuitry, and the UM 3D lab featuring 3D printing. At Boise State University, the Maker Lab acts as a hub for digital literacy. It includes 3D printing technology, multimedia stations, audio and video equipment, and microcomputers. At the University of North Carolina, the Makerspace serves as a research hub that enables students and faculty to explore emerging technologies and become makers. It includes 3D printers and scanners, sewing machines, and soldering irons. So how do makerspaces fit in with the new Information Literacy Framework by the Association of College and Research Libraries? Well, if we look at the components, we can see how they fit together. First, authority is constructed and contextual. Information resources reflect their creators' expertise and credibility, are evaluated based on the information need and the context in which information will be used. Authority is constructed in that various communities may recognize different types of authority. It is contextual in that the information need may help to determine the level of authority required. When students create information, they are developing their own level of authority in a particular area. With this authority comes the responsibility of seeking accurate and reliable information. Also, they are participating in the collaborative academic environment where authorities connect and develop new sources over time. The next component is information creation as a process. Information in any format is produced to convey a message and is shared via a selected delivery method. The iterative processes of researching, creating, revising, and disseminating information vary, and the resulting product reflects these differences. When creating some type of information artifact, students must assess the best product to demonstrate their information. They must recognize the capabilities and constraints of various medias and creation processes. The way we present information can have as much influence on how it is received as the information itself. Next, information has value. Information possesses several dimensions of value, including as a commodity, as a means of education, as a means of influence, and as a means of negotiating and understanding the world. Legal and socioeconomic interests influence information production and dissemination. Students must value the information they use and give credit when appropriate. Their work should comply with copyright law. Students also have to make decisions about who will have access to their own work, which is also of value. Research as inquiry. Research is iterative and depends upon asking increasingly complex or new questions whose answers in turn develop additional questions or lines of inquiry in any field. Students will find a question or problem to explore by reading research in their subject area. Students will be synthesizing information from multiple sources to create an artifact, which will in turn create new questions. Scholarship as conversation. Communities of scholars, researchers, or professionals engage in sustained discourse with new insights and discoveries occurring over time as a result of varied perspectives and interpretations. When producing a new artifact, students will attribute information to the sources used. They will participate with fellow students in scholarly communication and collaboration. Students will seek out scholarly conversations pertinent to their research and will see themselves not only as consumers of scholarship, but producers of scholarship. Searching as strategic exploration. Searching for information is often non-linear and iterative, requiring the evaluation of a range of information sources and the mental flexibility to pursue alternate avenues as new understanding develops. When creating an information artifact, students will need to manage their research and results effectively. Students will have to identify potential sources of information to help them understand their research questions. In their creation process, students will seek guidance from experts such as librarians and scholars in their field. Students will need to be flexible and creative while researching and creating their artifact. What are some ways we can apply the information literacy framework to Makerspace activities? The following sample projects demonstrate how projects can correspond with the components of the new framework. 3D printing functioning prosthetic limbs for engineering students. Students will recognize the nature of authority by finding and relying on authoritative sources. Students will further participate in the information creation process by developing information to convey their new product. Students will see how information has value as a commodity. And students will participate in research as inquiry by building upon existing information and designs. Students are participating in scholarly conversation by collaborating with each other. And finally, students will search strategically by consulting with experts in the field. Video creation for a rhetoric class. Students will understand the concept of authority by evaluating sources. Students are experiencing the information creation process by selecting the most appropriate means to convey their information. Students will recognize the value of information and give appropriate credit where due. Students will participate in research as inquiry by synthesizing information from several sources. Students will participate in the scholarly conversation by consulting various perspectives and collaborating with other students. And students will strategically search and manage results for use in their final product. Creating a podcast for an oral history presentation. Students will learn to recognize experiential authority by interviewing individuals. Students will recognize the information creation process, particularly through the revision of information. Students will see how information has value by creating educational value for others. Students will participate in research as inquiry by researching an historical event to develop questions for an oral history interview. Students will contribute to the scholarly conversation by creating and making available new information. And students will strategically explore their research topic and manage both secondary and primary sources. Have a great idea for an information literacy project in a makerspace? Submit it to my blog. I look forward to hearing about all your ideas. And thanks for listening.